Hey, hey, samurai hot. Hey, hey, samurai hot. Dun 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 dun.
What are you singing?
It's just a little song from a show I've been watching recently. It's called Gintama.
Gintama? What's a Gintama? Tell me more about this.
Well, it isn't exactly a Gintama, as Gintama isn't really an object. The main character of the show Gintama is his name's Gintoki, so the show's name is probably derived from his name. But what you posed at me actually gave me an idea. There may be a lot of people who want to get into long running series, but since the internet is filled with spoilers, they don't want to watch video or things related to that. So I might as well start up a spoiler free sort of series to introduce people into these series, and this will sort of be the foundation for me talking about these series in the future, like seasons for them and arcs for them. Just set down the foundation of my initial thoughts of the series were and things like that.
The Land of the Samurai. In fact, it hasn't been called by that name for a long time, since aliens from outside of space arrived, a species called the Yamato, and since then there's been a 20-year ban from anyone carrying or wielding a sword. With the sword ban prevalent, this led to the overall decline of the samurai, and very few people left with the samurai spirit. Our protagonist of this story is Sakurai Gintoki. Hey guys, J-Man Productions on the Jzone with something kind of new to my channel that I want to do. But this one is going to be on an introduction to Gintama, which is Hideakai Sorachi's manga, and here's volume 1 of it. So without further ado, let's get onto the video. Like I just mentioned, Gintama is a story about samurai, but it's not the conventional samurai story where it's just let's fight, blood, gore, and all that stuff. It's actually really different. It's a real comedy series, and it plays a lot of references to other different series. Like in one episode, you might catch a Dragon Ball Z reference, then you might catch a really obscure reference to something like Zelda. It references anything and everything. Like the Zelda reference was actually in one episode. There was actually a Triforce, and it explained it in subtitle. There's been ones like Actual 21 references when they're playing Kick the Can. It has a weird sort of comedy style to it, which I really appreciate for the beginning of the show. But it's not just based on comedy. It does have its own serious story arcs and serious parts to it. But I feel the manga could open up the show in this sort of way to introduce us to the very unique and very diverse characters that we see. First, I'll talk about how I got into Gintama. So I was actually introduced to it through the YouTube anime community. One of my good friends in the YouTube anime community is Sam, or Sam6782, or Seasonal Salt Sam, but I just call him Sam, especially for the purpose of this video. But anyway, he's a big Gintama fan, and he kept on going on about it. About probably when the first time I tried it was probably a year, maybe a year and a half ago, and he just kept on talking highly of it. So I tried it out the first 2 episodes. I wasn't impressed with the first 2 episodes. Not that they were bad episodes, because people I speak to actually like the first 2 episodes. I've said they're okay, but it just wasn't to my liking, and I dropped it. I never thought about it again. Went on to watch other series, but I don't know what exactly happens, but I just kept on hearing about Gintama and how it's doing well in the Shonen Jump rankings. It's really odd to see a week in the weekly Shonen Jump rankings when Gintama isn't in the top 5 or 6, because it does pretty well in Japan. People just like it over there. Sam was still talking about it. He was so hyped because Gintama was coming back, because the anime actually went on hiatus, and he said it was coming back, and he was just really hyped about it. So I thought I might as well give the show another chance. 2 episodes out of a show that had over 200 episodes is not really that fair. So I went back to watch it, and I found out the first 2 episodes were actually filler. In that these were the first 2 episodes were sort of a 1-hour special for this Shonen Jump event that they had, which was basically for people to get their grips to what the Gintama anime would be like. So the 3rd episode was the first episode of canon, and ever since that 3rd episode I've been hooked to the show. Really enjoyed it, really liked the way the show was, and I could see a lot of potential. Gintama is a show with probably the most quirkiest characters and just really out outside of the box type characters. They are very memorable characters. And my favourite characters of the show would actually, I have two really. I like a lot of the characters, but my two penultimate favourites would actually be Gintoki, who's the protagonist of the show, and it would actually be Hijikata. Now, Gintoki is a samurai that he's got a sweet tooth basically, and he likes anything that has a lot of sugar in it. And to me, I just found that weird. He has an obsession with Shonen Jump, so that's where you get a lot of the references from. So just from that character alone, created a big story sort of device for the show, because he was addicted to Jump. This is a gateway for them to use references in the show. So I just thought Gintoki does so much for the show, and I just like the sort of characters. He's sort of chilled, laid back. He just wants to relax, and he actually runs this place called Gintoki's Odd Jobs, and he, instead of doing like something compared to Naruto or Fairy Tail where they actually set serious missions, he actually just does simple odd jobs. My other favourite character is a guy named Hijikata, because he's a really interesting and sort of unique character in that he's sort of portrayed as this badass sort of character, but in fact he's sometimes not, because he has this weird obsession with mayonnaise, and it causes him to do some really funny stuff. And just because I think Hijikata has some of the funniest interactions with some of the characters, like there's Yamazaki, who is always lecturing and telling off. There's Okita Sogo, who always wants to try and kill Hijikata, because Hijikata is like second in command of the shogunate. His boss is Hanzo, and the guy that's always Sogo, who's always trying to kill Hijikata sometimes, he's like third in command, so he wants to kill him to take his spot. And his interaction with Gintoki, they're always pissed off at each other. I just think he has the funniest character interactions, and he's just got the weirdest quirk, loving mayonnaise. I just thought he was a really funny and sort of badass sort of character that I could sort of cling to.
So I got into Gintama about roughly 2 years ago, like July of 09, so summer of 09, and I was just pretty much just bored one day, and I figured out why don't I start a new show, because I really had nothing else to do. I was just sitting at the house like doing nothing, and just looking through Crunchyroll's anime cut selection, I guess, and I saw Gintama, and I was like, oh, why don't I check out Gintama, because before checking out the anime, I was a bit familiar with the show, with the series in general, because I read some of the chapters of the manga in the Shonen Jump magazines that came out like in 2007, which was like around the time when the Gintama manga in America was like fairly new. So yeah, and I read a bit of the chapters, and I thought, oh, that shit's hilarious, so why don't I give the anime a shot? And I watched the first episodes, and I wasn't really digging it at first, because the first two episodes were okay, but it just really didn't, grab my attention. But I still kept watching it, and I think it wasn't until like episode 3 or 4, or even 5 for that matter, until I got into it, because like, I think it was probably episode 4 or 5 when either Katsura or Kagura was introduced, because I was just laughing my ass off by the jokes or references that they made. So yeah, I guess that's pretty much how I got into Gintama. In terms of favorite characters, I actually have 2 favorite characters, Katsura, and then this one other character whose name I'm not going to say, because if I say his name, I'm probably going to be spoiling the show for you guys, so I'm just not going to say anything about him. But yeah, I'm not going to leave any hints towards who my second favorite character could be. But yeah, Katsura, the dude's fucking hilarious. He be doing some random shit, and sometimes he be pissing off Gintoki just by randomly saying random crap. Like, I remember one time he pretty much made a joke towards One Piece and even Naruto. Like, I remember the end of one episode, he pretty much was like, I'm going to be king of the pirates, Datebayo, which is Naruto's catchphrase in Japanese. So yeah, but Katsura was the man, just so hilarious. One arc that I like in particular in Gintama is like Yoshiwara arc, which just, if I had to describe this arc if I had to describe this arc, it would pretty much, I would kind of describe it as like it being the CP9/MB's lobby of Gintama, because it's like 8 episodes long and it's just straight fighting. Like, damn, it's just, I don't think no arc in Gintama could like pretty much hold a candle to Yoshiwara in my opinion. So yeah, but that doesn't happen until like 139, 140 through. It's like 8 episodes long, so I think it's from episodes 139 to 147. And yeah, so yeah, Yoshiwara arc is my favorite arc so far of the series. What makes Gintama special? I guess what makes Gintama special is, to me at least, is that it's like, it's not really your average, you know, shonen series, like compared to Naruto, One Piece, or Bleach, which are just pretty much just, you know, fights and just adventure and stuff. Gintama is just pretty much comes off to as a comedy, and it's primarily just a comedy show. But when it has, like, you know, its serious moments, and when it has its serious moments, and when it has its serious moments and just, like, you know, has, like, you know, a good amount of fighting, then you kind of see it as a shonen. Because if it just had its comedy, I would think it would just, you know, some people could see it like as a slice of life, like Skit Dance, for example. But yeah, I like how, like, Gintama pretty much has a balance between its comedy and its, you know, action scenes when it's needed. So yeah, that's what makes Gintama special for me.
Favorite moment, season, or arc? So far I'm not quite up to Gintama. I've watched the whole of the first season and a little bit of season 2, and I'm just going to tell you my favorite parts from mainly season 1, because this video is meant to be an introduction, so it's good that I've only watched season 1, so I can give you things that aren't really spoilerish at all. Season 1 does have some episodic parts, but it does have some actual arcs in it as well. But I like some of the sort of one-shot episode ones, because they're pretty funny. Like, I think it was episode 48, which is second last episode of season 1, where it was funny because half of the episode was like Gintoki and Hijikata it was just like what they would do in a normal day, and it was funny because they kept on meeting each other, and it just, as I said, Hijikata's character interactions are really funny. So that was a really, really funny episode. One of the more serious parts that I really liked was actually Kagura's backstory, where we found out about just different parts about her. I don't want to give any spoilers as to what it was, because it made us feel for this character which we only thought was a character, which we only thought was a sort of comic relief character. It gave the character a lot more depth, and it made you empathise for her character as well. And another one I would say would actually have to be episode 3, because it's a really great sort of way to get into the series, and it's what got me hooked to the series originally, because we found out how Shinpachi and Gintoki actually met up, and we were actually introduced to a really funny character in the series, which is Ote-san, and she's just she's sort of a tsundere-ish sort of character, and every series needs one of them. So now it's time for you guys to hear a second opinion about Gintama, and this will be Ozaki's main opinion about the series so far, or Rod Gamer, whichever one you want to call it.
So how I got into Gintama? Well, it was a very random occurrence. I was just searching around Crunchyroll, because I just finished One Piece at the time, and I was kind of sad. I wanted to find another anime that can give me the same feeling that One Piece had, because, you know, when we all have our bad days, and whenever I watch One Piece, it kind of just upped the day a little. And I was looking for something like that, and I just found Crunchyroll. It was on the first page. It was on the main page of Crunchyroll at the time. I'm not sure about it anymore, and it was fairly popular, but yet I never really see many videos out on Gintama. Well, except mine. I mean, I reviewed season 1 and a little bit of season 2. My favorite character is definitely Katsura. He just, like, lightens the mood so much, and his theme song is probably the most, like, it just fits him so much. The random slash comedic slash seriousness. It's very weird tone. Katsura is just a beast, and Elizabeth, everything with Elizabeth, his running joke, it's not Zura, it's Katsura. Just everything about him is just awesome. Plus, he's strong. I'm not going to spoil anything, but he was the same, he was a sibling disciple with Gintoki, with that one mentor guy. I haven't seen the backstory yet, but I look forward to it. An arc slash part of the series I loved. Well, there are many good arcs if you've seen Gintama. I mean, the very first serious arc with Kagura's backstory, then there was like Takasugi and the Cursed Sword thing. Then there was also the video game arc when they were like in a video game. The Yagyu clan, and that one chick. The chick. But out of all those, say the Android arc was really good. The ending is what sold it for me. I'm not going to ruin it. It was just a well thought out story. I have no idea what episode number was. I have no idea. All I know is that it's somewhere between episode 1 and 100, because that's what I've seen. Now what makes Gintama so special? I'd say just the creativity. Now let me explain. You know, One Piece, it takes elements of Dragon Ball, like the and inspiration to all mangaka. One Piece world is just so brilliant. And I see Gintama, I see One Piece-esque things in Gintama, like the world Edo. I think that's what they call it, the city that the Gintama world, the universe of Gintama is pretty much based upon. I see a lot of One Piece-esque things in that, and I really like that, but it's not like a total copy of One Piece. I love how Gintama brings back characters. If any of you have seen it, you remember the old dude that created robots and stuff? How we saw him like early on when they first introduced the main villain, Takasugi, and then we saw him again in the Android arc? Like, that was really good. I love how they bring back people, and I mean, that's not the only person they bring back. Like, they bring back tons of people. The ninjas, I didn't expect to see the ninjas again. The creativity. I just love how creative Gintama is. I mean, it's the first anime I've ever seen that does parodies on other stuff. I'm sure there's others out there, but it's the first one I've seen that did parodies.
I think the thing that makes Gintama so special is the fact that it does have this, as both of the other two mentioned, it does have really funny references to other series, and I haven't really seen anything that actually does this. And I was actually talking to people on Skype one day, and I was like, how do they get away with some of the things they've done? Because one of the parodies they did was actually remaking the DBZ Kai opening, and I was thinking, how did you manage to get away with that? Like, some of the references and some of just the parodies they managed to get away with, it's really incredible, and I've never actually seen anything in any other series like that. Another thing that makes it special was sort of similar to what Ozaki Rain said, the setting of Gintama. Edo is actually a sort of ancient sort of Japan sort of time, feudal times. It's back in the past where samurais were predominantly there, and there weren't very many cars and things like that. Sort of olden Japan. And it's really great because you have this whole element of the Yamato coming. So it's a futuristic Edo, so you're combining the past with futuristic aspects, and I thought, I've never seen a series do anything like that before, and that was really awesome, just seeing a really outside of the box sort of setting like that. Also some of the historical references, because as I mentioned, the Shinsengumi and the Shogunate, a few series actually have this sort of historical reference. Rurouni Kenshin has this because it has the Shinsengumi in it, and they're sort of they're the ancient Japan sort of police force, so you have a few sort of historical references in this series, obviously because it's set in Edo. So just plus the combination of the characters, as I said, they are really weird and quirky. I mean, you have an assassin in this series that can't even see properly. She's sort of short-sighted because whenever she loses her glasses, she goes in. She's sort of like, I think her name's Daphne from Scooby-Doo. I haven't watched Scooby-Doo in ages, but she can't see properly. I mean, the quirks that these certain characters have are really, really great. So, there's a range of things that makes this series really special, and I can't see why anyone can't just go out there and at least give it a try for at least 5 to 10 episodes. Gintama just has so many great elements of that, and I'm glad that it's actually doing really well in Japan. And I can't wait to buy the rest of the volumes and just buy the DVDs for the series, because it's a really, really great series. Hold up. You were talking about DVDs and you were talking about the manga for the series, but I'm looking online and apparently the manga's cancelled and the DVDs is subtitles only. No! I forgot to mention that it's unfortunate, but Gintama is actually one of those series that's such a gem in Japan. but outside of Japan it didn't get great reception for some reason. Probably because of the structure of how the series is, and it has so many references, and some of the series, not the casual anime fan or someone that's just into the big three sort of animes, they won't get all of the references in this series, which may have caused somewhat of damage to the series. Not even that, it seems like sometimes when series get a transition from Japan to outside of Japan, it doesn't go so well. Like, look at Case Close. To me, that is one of a really great anime that anyone can get into, but it didn't fare too well outside of Japan for some reason, even though it was on TV at one point. So the manga for Gintama may be cancelled, but I still think if you really want to watch the show, go on to Crunchyroll. There'll be a link in the description below so you can watch it and just experience it. And if you really want to, you can go out there and buy some of the DVDs for it and support Sentai, or if you really want to, like me, I'm actually going to buy a couple of volumes just because I like to have it there, and it's just cool to see some of the mangaka's artwork and the way he portrayed it in the manga. Anyway, this has been J-Man's Productions on the Jzone with sort of a new series to my channel called The Introduction To, and this has been one on Gintama. I would like to thank Sam for joining me and Ozaki Rain for helping me demonstrate why this is such a great series and why it deserves people to just check it out. As I said, link in the description to Crunchyroll where you can check it out. But anyway, there's not much else for me to say. Might as well end this video. Live and learn, good luck and God bless. And what's the catchphrase for Gintama? This is the only one I can think up of. Strawberry milk, strawberry milk, strawberry milk. No! No! Oh! Oh! Oh!